Hey everybody, my name's Carl. It's week 7, I think it is. The topic for this database forum and subsequently the topic for my research that is due next week. You have to excuse, I have a contractor here fixing something. So the topic of mine is the Greek monarchy, or modern day Greek monarchy from 1863 to 1974, and the stability that it brought to Greece. It's a little more problematic than I thought it would be because I may have 4 or 5 books and journals, but it's not measuring up to the required number of sources. So, and then when your dog eats 2 of your books in a day, she decides to pitch a temper tantrum. Doesn't really work. So I'm having to struggle to find a few more sources. But the topic itself, to me, has always interested me because there's really not that much out there. There are several books written by, for example, Prince Michael of Greece and Denmark, well-known and respected author. I'll probably end up using some of them. But Greece was under the Ottoman Turks up until like 1830, 1832, and the powers, Britain, France, Russia, installed a Bavarian king, Otto of Greece, the son of King Ludwig I of Bavaria. Otto was imposed on the Greek people and had an authoritarian regime, and after 30 years in 1862, they overthrew Otto, whichever. Prince William I of Denmark was installed. He was actually elected. He was appointed, and then assembly voted and installed him as the king of the Hellenes, not king of Greece. He was the king of the Hellenes. So you have a Danish prince, the son of who turned out to be King Christian IX of Denmark, an 18-year-old, inexperienced but dedicated and studious young man who would not involve himself in politics. There's a well-known case documented in one of the books, The Kings of the Hellenes, and it talks about how one of the officials in the Greek parliament went up to the king and talked to him about getting rid of the premier. They just didn't like him. And the king himself said if the people wanted to vote him out, they would vote him out. Thus, his name was William of Denmark. He took the name George I of the Hellenes. And his 50-year reign was the longest in modern Greek monarchical history. But he issued in the well-known established fact now of constitutional monarchy, of a monarch above politics. The electorate voted in what they want, who they wanted, and the king was above party politics, but he was the sole arbiter and guarantor of the Constitution. In the 50-year period, up until the king was assassinated in 14, it was after 14, I believe. I'm going from memory here. It was 1914. He was assassinated in Saloniki. I'm butchering that, but it was Saloniki. And his son, who had been born in Greece, the first Constantine, who married a Prussian German, Princess Sophie of Prussia, inspired the Greek nation. It inspired them because it was next time a Constantine ruled over the Greek throne, and his wife was Sophia. It took them back to the Emperor Constantine Pelagius. Anyway, Constantine didn't rule very long because he tried to keep Greece neutral in World War I, and his allies, his first cousins, interfered with Greek sovereignty. And for 20 years after that, the monarchy was returned after the King Constantine abdicated. Then it was deposed. It went out in 22, came back in 35. World War II came in, and the communists, as well as Germany, invaded Greece, which started the Communist Civil War, which culminated in the return of the Greek monarchy in 35. King Paul took office in 1942. No, 1947. And through all the point of my research was the political infighting, the deprivation and corruption of the Greek governments, and every successive government required a strong, above party politics, but Greece first, a sovereign. Some people say, a king has no business in a modern, equitable society. And I disagree. When you look at the amount of money spent on elections, political corruption scandals, a sovereign is born and bred to do this job, to hold someone, the fear of being held accountable to someone versus, the people don't like it, they may do something about it. And that's what Greece has experienced from 47 up until 64 when the king died and his young 24-year-old son Constantine II succeeded to the throne of Greece. There was stability, tourism, the Truman, the Marshall Plan, all of that brought stability to Greece. The politicians, Constantine, oh Lord, I knew I should have written it down. I'm not going back. I'm trying to go from memory, not my notes. Constantine former government official in Greece, then president, premier, back and forth between president. Mitsotakis, Constantine Mitsotakis, has been quoted in one of the few books he actually gave an interview for before he died, that Greece, had King Paul of Greece not died in 1963, that Greece would not have had and Greece would not have gone through a revolt by the army in 67. Greece would not be in the state it was in, the financial state it was in. When the king died in 63, the politicians it was a free-for-all of self-interest. And that's what the point of my research with Greece from 1863 to 1967 is, to prove that the few periods of stability that the country has ever been offered was because they had a king at the helm watching the politics, but also at the same time holding politicians accountable. And it may bore some people, but I hope it turns out pretty good. So thanks for listening. Everybody have a good day.